friends, it's Holly. Welcome. Welcome if you're new, welcome if you're not new. Awesome to have you. How is everybody? Are we good? If you're not, hugs from me. It's coming on spring. And with that comes what I like to call the months of mud. And I have a white dog. Well, she's more cream than white, but a very light colored dog. And though when she's been groomed and she looks all prissy, she looks like a prissy white dog, like she could lay on a pillow all day. But no, that's not her. She is an outdoor dog. And mud, she loves the mud. I think the last time we had her groomed, which was last Friday, she stayed clean for, I'm going to give it a solid 15 minutes. And then it was just mud. 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 But you know what? It's okay, because along with the mud we get the pussy willows and the crocuses and the forsythia bushes and all the other fabulous parts about spring. So today we are going to talk about something that I enjoy very much, and that is the selvage. I'm hoping that by the end of this video, you will look at fabric a whole new way. It'll open a whole new door of what fabric can do for you. So the selvage, we know what a selvage is. It's it's this long white nothing. It's necessary for printing fabric, but it always has to be cut off. And then, you know, but on the other side of the long white fabric piece, we have something spectacular frequently. Now, some companies, it's still kind of like, pretty boring. But just as a really fast little example before I go to the overhead, look at this. Look at that. Look at the flowers on that selvage. Love, love, love. So selvages can actually just create more fabric in a completely different way. It's it combined with other selvages or with more fabric, you can create all kinds of fabulous things. I've got a couple of books here, and I will link them down below. This one is Save the Selvages, and she's got a whole bunch of stuff that she's made with. This particular person does 8.5-inch square blocks, and then she uses them to create whatever. And then we've got Modern Selvage Quilting. And this focuses way more on the possibilities of what you can do with selvages to create quilts or other quilting things, pillows, like this. Look at this. That's awesome. And all those little stripy things, those are selvages. Selvages. So, because I need to back up just a little bit. Oops. Before you knock something over. This is an example of a bag that I made. And the selvages are just a decorative piece of the front of the bag. And then there's a mug rug. Nifty little pouchy thing. Just as examples of what you can do. So I'm going to go to the overhead, and we'll have a little bit of a closer look at selvages and how you prepare your selvages to actually create something fantastic. So I'll be right back. So in general, selvages will give you a lot of information. And taking as this for an example, it tells us that it's from Free Spirit, and the name of the fabric is Forest Floor, the collection, and this is the actual designer of the fabric. And then if you look all the way down here, where all these little cutie pie raccoonies are, these are all the colors used in making this piece of fabric. This ghastly one is perhaps a better example of that. So these happen to be numbered, but those are all the colors that are used in this fabric. So if you have this fabric and you're thinking, oh gee, I want to coordinate with a solid, or I want something else that kind of works with it, this helps you to decide what colors are going to work with this fabric, because all of those are actually in the fabric. This is an Alexander Henry Ghastly. If you are not yet familiar with the Ghastlies, I encourage you to go Google the Ghastlies, Alexander Henry. Awesome, so much fun. So some other fun ones. Cotton and Steel always has amazing selvages, and I'm thinking that Cotton and Steel is not available anymore, and that maybe they became Ruby Star. Sorry, I should have more info than that, but Ruby Star always has great selvages. This one is particularly cute in the colors. They have little Christmas things. This one is a Moda. I can't remember what this one was because I only have a little piece of it, but it's got moths. It might be a gingerbread. I don't remember. Anyway, and a little quote: "The humblest tasks get beautiful if loving hands do them." Louisa May Alcott. Cutie, 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 cutie pie. This one is Wyndham, Heather Gibbons, and she also has a quote: "In every walk with nature, one receives far more than he seeks." John Muir. This one has little owlies, so cute. Grunge, I particularly like grunge because they color the entire fabric, so the selvages are not white. They're the same color as the fabric. Let's see, what else do I have to show off here? This one, I haven't cut this one yet, but this one is particularly cute. The fabric has got typewriters all over it, and the actual collection is called 9 to 5, and so it's all like office. There's pencils and stuff, but it's got little typewriters down here, and it's good and wide, which I particularly like. These are new. This is called First Light, and this is what I just showed you. Look at the flowers. So beautiful. Now, I don't generally rip off a selvage until I use the fabric, so that I don't lose all this information when I'm working towards a project. But just for the sake of, so that you know what I do, and because I'm lazy and because I like a straight grain cut, all I do is take my scissors, and I usually leave, I don't know, is it a 1/2 inch or so? Give a little cut. Whoops, sorry. And then I just rip it all the way down. And now I have this awesome piece of selvage to use with these awesome floppies. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to show you in the overhead before I go on to the demonstration. This is a pouch that I just recently made, and this just shows how, see, these are the grunge, so they're not white, but they throw that pop of color in there. One of the most fun things about using selvages is that you can just play with color like crazy. I mean, you can, I usually try to have like a plan in mind. Like this one I wanted sort of purples and pinks, and then this mug rug is all Marcia Durst fabric, And the reason that I chose this is because I really love her font. And so the font sort of becomes the star of the show. So I think that these are the books that I talked about earlier. I think that's about it for the intro here. Let's go make some selvage fabric. So we're gonna go about creating a selvage piece of fabric, basically a workable piece of fabric using selvages. There are many ways to go about doing that. I'm gonna go ahead and do the diagonal for my demonstration purpose, full effect of that later. But so there's a lot of options. The woman who wrote this particular book, Save the Selvages, her idea is to create a whole bunch of 8.5, this is not helping, is it? I'm trying to find the page where she's talking about what she's, here we go. That she's making a whole bunch of 8.5 squares, 8.5 inch squares. And then she uses those squares to create whatever. And it can be like, you know, into an actual quilt block kind of thing here, or, and then she just always has this pile of 8.5 inch squares that she makes things out of. I think in theory that sounds really good, and obviously there's some great ideas of things to make using that. I'm a little more freeform than that. I really like to just pick size and sort of go with it. I am thinking about using this to be a pocket for the front of a bag. So normally I just have a piece of muslin to start with. You just need a foundation, and it can be muslin, it can be a piece of batting. Batting works really well. I think I use batting, I definitely use batting on this piece. It can just be a scrap of fabric. I would be careful to use anything that's got a lot of bright color underneath, because it can show through the white parts. Like for example, this pattern is showing through the white of this selvage, which is totally fine, but it can, you know, maybe better not to do that. So I'm going to start with my piece. This particular piece is 8 by 11. So I draw reference lines. These are by no means you have to sew on these lines. All it does is give me a reference point from where I'm going to lay my pieces. It kind of helps them keep straight, and you don't end up with the wonky. Well, you might still end up with the wonky, but at least this helps a little bit. So I just use the 45-degree angle on the ruler and my friction pen, and I do one side, and then I do the t'other side. And then I just kind of use these as guidelines to draw a couple of other lines. So I'm just lining up the 2-inch mark here on one of these and drawing another line, and then maybe I'll line up the 2-inch mark again. No, maybe I'll do the 1-inch mark. Like, it really doesn't matter where you put them. They're just there to help you eyeball where your pieces are going. And then maybe I'll do another one out here. And then maybe I'll do another one out here. No one's gonna see them. They're just sort of helping you stay in line. And I would do the exact same thing if I was gonna do it vertically or horizontally. I just line them up and make lines this way, just to kind of keep it straight. So then we need to pick them. Pick the selvages. Let's see here. I really should have been way more organized. pile of Selvages. So I just pull out a pile, and this is like an 1/8 of the amount of Selvages I have. But I think for this, I want happy colors, happy fabrics. Like this one is pretty great. The Rainbow Garden. This is some of my favorite fabric, actually. So that's a good one. Sure, that might work. We'll go with that one. Maybe a little Tula. Let's see, what else have we got here? Oh, some alchemy. We're getting a lot of pink here, but that's okay. How about we find some more blue? We got some blue here. This is the City Lights. Throw a little more blue in there. This is a good blue. So we've got some blues, we've got some pinks. How about a couple purples? Got some Marcia here. No piece is too small because there's corners, so be not afraid of the little pieces. There's that crazy, I think it's a cave. Ooh, this is a good one. Some yellow. Do we have any yellow? Not much yellow. Okay, so that's maybe enough of patterned. Oh, wait, this one's good. This one's good. A little Alfie. All right, that's probably enough patterned fabric. Now I also have a stash of solids, of grunge solids. So let's get this out of the way. Okay, so we're still doing good here. So let's see, we've got this pile of wonderfulness, and we might want some, let's see, how about some orange? A little happy orange there. Maybe a little bit of lighter blue. Some teal maybe would work. Okay, let's see what we got. So next step is to press all these, and I won't torture you through watching me press all of them, but the pressing part is important. I'm gonna start with this nice little grunge here, and I do use a starch. I'm using Flatter right now. Honestly, Flatter is one of my favorites, but it doesn't really have the oomph, you know, it just kind of mellows things out, and it smells fantastic. But my best press is in the mail coming to me, so I'm gonna do some Flatter. So let's get these guys all pressed out. Ooh, wish you had smell-o-vision. It smells so good. This one is the fig. And then I just sort of lay them over somewhere kind of flat. That's another good one. The thing is that they have a tendency to curve, and some of it is probably because I rip instead of cutting them. Some of them I cut, most of them I rip, and I think probably the action of ripping creates a little bit of a curve, and some of them curve worse than others. Let's see if I can find one that I think is gonna curve. No, most of these look pretty, good. Also, the smaller that you cut, the thinner that you cut them, the more they're gonna wanna do a little curve action. Which is why the, oh, this one was cut, okay. Which is why the starch or pressing medium, whatever you like, is important. So I am going to stop recording and go ahead and iron all the rest of these, and then we'll come back and start placing them on our foundation. Just in case you're on the fence about getting one of these little vacuums, this one cracks me up. He's got eyeballs. Look at all these little pieces of lint on this. All gone. And then you just pick it out of the little brushes on the bottom, and you're good to go. All right, so we have our stable, our foundation piece. Make sure I'm in frame here. There we go. And we've got all of our pressed pieces here. Now, the first one, unless it is very wide, the first one is not going to show up a whole lot. Just as an example, the pink one here on the corner was the first one that I laid in, and we're not seeing much of it. Up here it was an orange. It needs to be there, but unless you use a wider one, it's, you know, it's not going to show too much. So I'm going to go ahead with this blue. Nope. Trying to make sure you can see exactly what I'm doing. So I'm going to lay it down here, and then first of all I'm going to look at it, and I'm going to decide what part of it I really want to show. And like I just said, this is the corner piece, and so it's not going to show a lot. So I'm just going to go with the center where there are no words, because they're not going to be seen anyway. And then I'm going to take my rotary cutter, and I'm just going to do a little, not up too close to the edge, but, you know, just to take the bulk off, and lay these aside in case I want them later. So let's see. Let's go with, now we've got a piece of Tula, and this has got a lot of stuff happening. We've got raccoon faces, Tula Pink All-Stars. We've got stars here. I think I'm gonna go with All-Stars and raccoon faces. Does that look good next to that blue? Maybe this would look better. This would look better next to that blue. No. Oh, it was fine. It was fine. Okay, raccoon faces, all-stars, lay it down. Now see, we've got a line, and I'm going to cover it up, but it's going to help me to get that laid correctly. So there we go. Let's see, do I want to go this way a little bit? Maybe. Snip, snip, save. Okay, let's see. Orange. And now this time I can lay it almost exactly against this line and know that I'm not wonky yet. Okay, this orange has got a lot of really good pink in it. So let's go with the Rainbow Garden. We can almost slide this all the way to the end. Now I know you're thinking, at least I would be thinking, why are we not pinning? Why are we not in any way attaching them? Because I'm going to place them one at a time as I sew them. So we'll get to that a little bit later. So let's see, how about some blue? Do I want the numbers? I think I want the words. Okay, let's see what's next. How about some Alfie? That's good. Okay, I'm just going to keep doing this until that whole foundation piece is covered in the Selvages. So I'm going to do that and then I will come back. So here we have the completely covered foundation piece and I'm happy. That's a happy little piece of Selvages there. Now there are, in my mind, there are 3 ways we can go about doing this. And I'm going to explain them to you because different things work for different people and, you know, you ought to have options. So the first one would be to carefully lift this up just the way it is, bring it to your sewing machine and start sewing on the Selvages while they're here. They're not secured in any way. They're just there. And it works. I've tried it that way and it does work. You do will lose a couple in the end, but it's okay. The other thing that you can do is now remove them all in order. Get some of your 505, spray it on your foundation piece, and then lay them all back on in order, using the adhesive to keep them from moving while you sew them. I tried that. It got ugly. It got ugly. It got messed up. The glue was down and I didn't get a couple of them on as straight as I wanted them, and you know, inappropriate words were said, and it did not work well for me. Now, if you are a person who does, in one case, does not have essential tremors where you shake, or you're just really good at this kind of thing, that may be the answer for you, because in theory, that's a good plan. I mean, then they're all glued down and all you have to do is stitch them. What I do is I start removing them from the foundation. I turn them over on top of each other. until I have them all off and in a little pile. And then I take the whole thing over to the sewing machine, and one by one, I lay them back on the foundation and I stitch them. This works best for me. I'm not saying that it is the best way or the only way or any of that craziness. Just, that's what I do. So let us go to the sewing machine and create a selvage piece. Okay, we got this weird flashing artifact thing going on, and I'm not really sure why. But we're gonna give it a shot and see what happens. So here we are at Jolene the Juki. She's already set up with white thread. And here, of course, is my foundation piece. And I have my little pile of selvages here. So I'm going to just start with the first selvage. And because it is so close to the corner, I'm just going to sew one time through the selvage end. I'll explain in a minute why I just said what I said. So, here we go. I don't really feel any need to back tack with this, but if you do, you do you. Okay, so now we've got our first corner on. Everything is hunky-dory and wonderful. And we're going to start with our next piece, which is really kind of the first one that's going to show. And I'm just going to lay it down. And this is absolutely your creative eye on how much of the fabric you want to show, how much of the white part you want to show. Absolutely your own personal preference. So there's number 2, and I'm going to sew down the bottom, and then I'm going to go back and sew down along the top part of that white space. The reason that I don't go down here, turn around, and then come back is it creates a weird tension on the fabric, and you can get lumping, and so always going the same direction is a good rule of thumb, at least in this particular thing. Just make sure you got off the foundation. Going back. Ta-da! We got 2 selvage pieces attached. Now I'm gonna just go and take a break and have a look at this video, because that flashing light thing is making me nervous. So, and then I will be back and we'll do more. So hang on. Well, everything seems to be copacetic, so I feel kind of like my sewing machine and my phone in this case are not playing well together, but it's not corrupt, so we're just gonna keep going, cross our fingers. And here we go with the next one, and you can see that I'm just laying it wherever I think. So I only sewed once down here, but all of the rest of them I'm gonna sew on both sides of the actual selvage part, and it just holds it a little bit more securely, and I just kind of like the way it looks. So that's my story. Here we go. We got that laid out good, using our line for a guide. And now, being a little OCD, I considered changing out to orange thread, and then I decided no. It's okay. Back. And now we have 3. So grab another one off the pile. Rainbow Garden. Do any of you guys name your NS? You know, this is, it did a little, remember I was talking about how they had a tendency to curve? This one did that a little bit. It's not offensive, or I wouldn't rip it out, but see how it's just kind of, it's kind of doing that. So do any of you also name your inanimate objects? I have always done that. I don't really know why. Our car is called Ruby because she looks like Dorothy's ruby slippers. Jolene here has a notch in her bobbin case, which is why she's making a little bit too much noise. I have a replacement bobbin case coming. So that's how you do it. You just keep on adding them until you get all the way to the other side. So I'm going to leave you and go ahead and finish up my piece, and I'll show you its finished product at the end. Okay, I reevaluated and I'm back sooner. I just thought I would do the last 2 together with you, just so that you maybe have a better clue what's going on. It just seemed like a good idea. So I'm down to the last 2. Come on. Thread. Knows it's on camera and it's misbehaving. She is the very, very, very last piece. Oops, come on. Be a good girl. Play nice. Now, come on. There we go. Not only do I name inanimate objects, I also talk to them. I have the whole thing done. There is a little teeny weeny bit here that I didn't cover. Not a problem. It will not show. So I'm going to take it over and we're going to do the trimming. Okay, so where do that'll do. On the front side, we're going to flip her over. We've got the pattern, the foundation piece shows us where we need to trim. So I'm just going to line up my ruler. That one didn't sound like it. Didn't sound like it went through. It's so funny how you get used to those sounds of the way the cutting is supposed to sound. And there we have it. A lovely piece of selvage fabric to use in whatever way you want to use it. So that's the basic technique. Super easy, fun, gives you an opportunity to play with color, and that's it. Thanks for watching. Just in case you were curious about how many selvages I have and how I store them, this is a basket on the floor, and that's Jack. Jack hangs out. He has a long story. He belonged to my mother, and he is sitting on the selvages. That's how many selvages I have. There's a good chance I would never ever in my entire lifetime use up that many selvages, but you never know. There might be just the perfect selvage in there. So that's it for Selvages 101. I hope now that when you look at fabric, you'll take a second to check out that little surprise, that little selvage surprise. It kind of amps up the fun factor with fabric. So if you would like to see me sew with it, actually create something with it, let me know. It's not, I mean, it sews just like any other fabric, but I'll be happy to do that if you'd like to see that. So I hope everyone is well. Illinois is canceling the mask mandate starting Monday, I believe. I hope that's a good thing. I guess there's no way to know for sure, but I hope it's a good thing. So be well, be safe, and I will see you next week. Bye.